welcome to our deep dive into dance education.
It's a fascinating world, isn't it?
It is, and it sounds like you're interested in how it's evolving, especially these new programs that are blending artistry with, like, actual business skills.
Practical skills for the real world.
Yeah, exactly. So we're diving into an article today called The New Wave of Dance Education.
Oh, by the Uncensored dance mom.
Have you heard of her?
Oh, yeah. She's known for, well, she definitely stirs up conversation in the dance world.
Always insightful, though.
Often provocative, but yeah, always insightful.
So this article, it dives into this idea of a dual focus in dance education. So, like, think about it. Young dancers...
Not just mastering pirouettes anymore.
Right. Exactly. They're learning about, marketing and finances even.
Even self-promotion. It's like they're getting a crash course in entrepreneurship.
Alongside their dance training.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So what's the thinking behind this? I mean, why is this shift happening now?
Well, the article argues that it's all about empowering dancers to build sustainable careers. So whether they end up performing on stage or choreographing or even opening their own studios.
They need these skills?
They need these skills, yeah, for long-term success.
It makes you wonder, what kind of financial skills are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Because financial literacy, I mean, that can be pretty broad, right?
It is.
Is it like basic budgeting? Or are they getting into contract negotiation and understanding royalty payments and stuff like that?
All of that. The article highlights a whole range of skills, from the fundamentals of budgeting and financial planning to more advanced concepts like understanding contracts.
Oh, wow.
Intellectual property rights.
Okay.
And how to manage income as a freelancer.
That's a lot to pack in alongside intense dance training. But it also sounds like it could be a game changer for these young dancers, especially in a field that's not always known for its financial stability, right?
Yeah. Right, exactly. The goal is to equip dancers with the financial acumen to really navigate that unpredictable world of professional dance.
And I think that's a huge part of it, right? The dance world can be so unpredictable.
It can be.
So having those skills, having that that foundation.
The safety net, in a way.
Yeah, a safety net, exactly.
I throw back on.
But, okay, so we've talked about the business side, but what about the art? Does focusing on the business side risk, stifling that artistic soul of dance?
That's a good question.
Because, we think about dance, it's about passion, it's about expression, pushing boundaries. Could too much emphasis on, contracts and marketing, kill the joy?
That's a valid concern, and actually the article doesn't shy away from it. The author argues that the key is balance.
Balance.
Yeah. So while practical training is crucial, these programs need to make sure they're not, overshadowing that artistic heart of dance.
So how do they do that? How do they actually walk that tightrope? Are there specific strategies they're using to nurture that creativity alongside these business skills?
The article points to a few key approaches. First, there's a strong emphasis on encouraging students to develop their own choreographic voice.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just about learning and executing routines created by others.
As they're creating.
They're given the tools and the space to create their own work.
So they're not just dancers, they're becoming creators.
Exactly.
That's a pretty big shift, I would say, from traditional dance education.
Right. It is. And it ties directly into the idea of, fostering a sense of ownership over their art, which the author really emphasizes throughout the article.
Okay.
By encouraging them to choreograph, programs are nurturing that artistic vision and giving them a deeper investment in their craft.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you create something yourself, it's no longer just steps, it's your expression, your voice. But what does sense of ownership look like in practice?
Well, the article highlights programs that incorporate improvisation and experimentation and exploration of different dance styles into their curriculum. So they're exposing students to a wider range of influences, and they're encouraging them to develop their own unique movement vocabulary.
So it's not just about churning out cookie-cutter dancers. It's about actually cultivating these individual artistic identities.
Exactly. It's about equipping them to be not just, skilled technicians, but also innovative artists who can bring something unique to the dance world.
This brings us to something I think is super relevant today, and that's social media.
Oh, of course.
The article mentions it as a key skill
absolutely.
Being taught in these new wave dance programs. And it's true. I mean, in today's world, it's not enough to just be a talented dancer. You need to know how to market yourself.
You have to.
Build a brand, connect with audiences online.
Social media has become integral to the dance world, yeah.
It's a platform for everything, like, for self-promotion, for networking, for showcasing your work.
To a global audience.
Global audience. It's incredible. And it's like, it's pretty fascinating to think about these young dancers learning about plies and arabesques.
Right.
But also like, algorithms and engagement strategies.
It's a whole new set of skills.
It is a whole new set of skills.
And these programs they're recognizing that and integrating it.
Yeah.
They're teaching dancers how to curate their online presence, how to create compelling content, and build a following.
Which can support their careers.
Exactly.
It's like a mini masterclass in digital marketing.
Alongside their dance training, yeah.
Alongside their dance training. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And, as more and more opportunities emerge online in the dance world.
Absolutely.
This is it's becoming invaluable.
It really is.
And it empowers them, too.
It does, yeah.
To take control of their own narrative,
right?
They can showcase their talents.
Without relying on, traditional gatekeepers.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying, like, this new wave of dance education, it's not just about changing how dance is taught.
Right.
It's about actually changing the power dynamics within the dance world itself.
It has the potential to.
Yeah, and I think that's something we definitely need to dive into a little bit more.
It really does, yeah. I mean, think about it. Those traditional hierarchies, they've been in place for so long.
They have.
But this could really shake things up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about something else that I thought was really interesting in the article.
Okay.
This emphasis on like fostering resilience and adaptability in young dancers.
Oh, yeah. That's crucial, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to, equip them with all these business skills and encourage them to be creators and everything.
Right.
But the dance world, it's tough. It's competitive. It's unpredictable. How are these programs actually preparing them for the inevitable, like the setbacks, the rejections?
The heartbreaks.
The heartbreaks, yeah, that come with the territory.
Yeah, the article doesn't explicitly lay out a roadmap or anything,
right.
but it kind of hints at it throughout. This focus on developing diverse skill sets, exploring different styles, creating their own work, it all contributes to a more adaptable mindset,
So it's less about like training for one very specific path, like becoming a ballerina in a prestigious company.
Right.
And more about like cultivating a range of skills that could open up different avenues within the dance world.
Exactly. So they're more versatile. They can, pivot and explore different opportunities.
So like commercial dance or choreography or teaching even.
Arts administration. Yeah, there are so many options.
And that's valuable, I think, not just for dance.
No.
But for navigating any career paths these days, right?
The world is changing so fast.
Exactly. But okay, let's be honest. Rejection is still part of the game, right?
It is.
Even with all the training and the diverse skill set and all of that.
Yeah.
Not every dancer is going to, land their dream gig.
Right. And I think that's where the personal development aspect of these programs really comes in.
Oh, okay.
The article suggests that they're fostering a mindset shift.
Oh, how do they do that?
Encouraging dancers to view those setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, for growth and learning.
Okay, so it's about building that inner resilience.
Yes.
That ability to, bounce back from rejection and keep going.
And keep pursuing their passion.
But how do you teach that? I mean, that seems like such an intangible quality.
It is. But I think it goes back to this whole philosophy of, empowering dancers to really take ownership of their careers. They're not just passively waiting for opportunities. They're actively creating their own paths.
Okay.
Exploring, developing that confidence to navigate the industry on their own terms.
So it's like they're not just, fragile artists dependent on the approval of whoever. It's like they're
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, resilient entrepreneurs who can forge their own path.
Exactly. And that ties back into that idea of shifting power dynamics.
Oh, right.
Within the dance world, yeah.
Because as dancers become more empowered, more self-sufficient, they're less reliant on those traditional gatekeepers.
Right. The artistic directors, the agents.
The casting directors.
Who've historically held so much power.
And that's kind of the heart of it, right? This new wave of dance education.
Yeah.
It's not just about skills. It's about reshaping, like, the entire ecosystem.
It has the potential to, yeah.
And that's fascinating to think about. What happens when dancers start, like, really prioritizing their well-being, their creative fulfillment over, pleasing those in positions of authority?
What happens when they demand fairer contracts, better working conditions?
It could lead to a more equitable industry.
Yeah.
A more sustainable industry.
Yeah, where dancers are valued not just for their talent,
Right.
but for their business acumen.
And their ability to advocate for themselves.
Exactly.
But, okay, the article also raises some concerns about this whole model, right?
Yes. Definitely.
And I think the big one is accessibility.
Yes.
Because these comprehensive programs with all the business skills and personal development and all of that, they sound amazing.
They do.
But they also probably sound expensive.
They can be, yeah.
So what about dancers from, low-income families who can't afford the tuition, the specialized training, the social media marketing courses?
Right, right.
Are we creating a system where only those with financial resources can access this new wave of dance education?
That's a crucial question. And to be honest, the article doesn't really dive deep enough into that.
It doesn't.
It acknowledges the concern, but it doesn't offer any concrete solutions.
So what can be done? Like, how do we make sure that this evolution in dance education doesn't accidentally create new barriers?
It's a complex issue, but I think it starts with acknowledging the problem and making a commitment to inclusivity.
So that means studios, schools, even like government funding agencies need to step up.
They do.
And find ways to make these opportunities available to everyone.
To everyone, regardless of their background.
Okay, that sounds like a tall order.
It is.
Where do we even begin?
Well, we could look at existing models, scholarship programs, sliding scale fees based on income, community outreach programs that offer like free or subsidized training.
Right.
There are options out there.
And it's also about like fostering a culture of mentorship.
Oh, absolutely.
Connecting established professionals with aspiring dancers from underrepresented communities.
And mentorship can be huge.
Huge.
Yeah, in breaking down those barriers.
Yeah, sharing knowledge, guidance, creating a network of support. It's also about challenging those existing power structures within the dance world and making sure that those who have been excluded have a seat at the table.
It's not just about providing access to training. Right. It's about creating a more equitable and inclusive dance world.
Where everyone can thrive.
Everyone.
It's a big conversation.
It is.
And one that we're, just starting to have.
They're scratching the surface.
But it's an essential one, especially as this new wave of dance education, keeps gaining momentum.
It is. We're talking about shaping the future of dance.
We are.
And it's crucial that we do so thoughtfully and with an awareness of, the potential pitfalls as well as the incredible opportunities.
It's been a really fascinating exploration so far. As we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think this new model, this focus on business skills, personal development, resilience, all of that, do you think it has the potential to truly transform the dance world?
It's tough to say for sure, There's so much potential there, but like we've been talking about, there are also these concerns.
Yeah, about inclusivity, whether this approach could actually end up hurting some dancers.
Exactly.
It's like, is it really leveling the playing field, or is it just shifting the inequalities?
Right. And I think the answer really depends on, how it's implemented, whether the dance community as a whole is really committed to making this work for everyone.
Not just those who can afford it.
Exactly.
It's not a magic solution.
It's not.
It takes a conscious effort, right?
It does. It takes a real commitment to making sure those core values, the accessibility, the artistic integrity, that those aren't lost.
It's like you don't want to lose the heart and soul of dance in the pursuit of business savvy.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance where dancers can thrive both creatively and professionally.
This whole conversation, it makes me think of that Martha Graham quote that the article mentioned.
Oh, yeah, about the dancer's body being a manifestation of the soul.
The dancer's body is simply the radiant manifestation of the soul. And I think that's so important to keep in mind as we navigate all of this.
Absolutely. Dance, at its core, it's about expression, it's about connection, it's about the human spirit.
And no matter how the industry changes, those things have to stay at the forefront.
They do.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot today. We've gone from like specific business skills to these bigger questions about power dynamics and accessibility and really the future of the dance world.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is. As we wrap up, I'm curious, what's resonating most with you from all of this? What are your big takeaways?
For me, it's that potential for this new model of dance education to really change the way we think about what it means to be a dancer.
Oh,
In
interesting.
the 21st century, yeah.
How so?
Like, we're moving away from that stereotype of the starving artist, the dancer who sacrifices everything for their art, and we're moving towards a more empowered image, the dancer as an entrepreneur, a creative force.
A savvy business person?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I like that.
And I think that has implications beyond just the dance world, too.
Oh, tell me more.
Like, we're seeing this trend, this blending of artistry and entrepreneurial skills in so many creative fields: music, visual arts, writing, you name it.
It's about artists taking control
Yes.
of their careers,
Yeah.
creating their own opportunities.
In a world that's, increasingly competitive.
And it's recognizing that, being a successful artist these days, it takes more than just talent.
It does.
It's business acumen, resilience, all of those things.
And a deep understanding of how art is created and consumed and shared in the digital age, right?
Right, because it's a whole new landscape.
It is.
And it's constantly evolving.
It is.
But it's not about, saying that artistic skill and expression don't matter anymore.
No, not at all.
It's about expanding the definition of what it means to be a successful artist.
Exactly.
In the 21st century.
And I think that's a positive thing.
It is.
Yeah, it's about empowering artists to build those fulfilling careers while staying true to their vision.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
It flew by.
It did. It did. But before we go, a final thought for everyone listening out there.
Oh, I like this.
If you were designing a dance program for, aspiring dancers today, how would you balance the artistic development with those practical skills while also making sure it's accessible to everyone, to all talented individuals?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. It is.
It's a challenge, but it's such an important one to consider.
It is, because it's about shaping the future of dance, and we want to make sure we're doing it right.
We do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the evolving world of dance education. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
I hope so, too.
And everyone listening, keep learning, keep questioning, and most importantly,
keep dancing.
Keep dancing. We'll see you next time.